Hi guys, welcome to a very special episode of Mastering Martech, a specially curated video series powered by Netco Smartech, where we speak to leading growth practitioners who are working at the cutting edge of marketing technology. I'm your host Pradyut Hande, senior growth marketer and product evangelist, and today I have with me a very special guest, Mr. Siddhartha Roy, CEO of Hungama. Thank you so much for being a part of this video.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's fabulous. So, without further ado, I'd just like to first tell what our viewers what this entire episode is all about. Now, the media OTT space in India has witnessed a huge boom over the last few years itself. In fact, an EY report says that it's growing at a CAGR of almost 22 to 23%. And set in this backdrop, how is Hungama placed? What is its genesis and growth story over the last few years? If you could just walk us through that.
Sure. Uh, with regards to the overall opportunity at large, what we've done over the last 4 to 5 years is Hungama's largely transitioned itself into a complete consumer-facing business.
Right.
With our music business, which is largely into the streaming space, which is Hungama Music, and our video play, which is driven by Hungama Play, we have a large focus across these two categories.
Right.
And we've seen obviously exponential growth over the last 2.5, 3 years on the back of the larger change in the ecosystem that was driven largely by device and data.
Correct. Absolutely.
There was very clearly platforms and services and destinations such as ours which already had content in play.
Absolutely correct.
Users got an opportunity on the back of the change in the larger ecosystem.
Right.
A massive consumption boom came into our services.
Right.
We've had exponential growth month on month, year on year,
Right.
and these have doubled, trebled, quadrupled on the back of great consumer engagement.
Okay. Okay.
If you look at 3 years back, if I was to look at basic data, which was published data, at that time India was consuming roughly about 700 MB
Right.
per month
Right.
of data. In this data set, which has come in literally last week, we're talking roughly about between 12 to 13 gigs
Right.
of data per user.
Right.
Now that itself is roughly 15x growth
Correct.
over the last 2.5, 3 years. And I believe that as entertainment entities which are in this vertical, we've been one of the single biggest beneficiaries of that growth.
Absolutely.
So what is this consumer doing today? This consumer, which currently between our music and video property, we have roughly 65 million active users on a monthly basis. These consumers are coming in, doing deeper and deeper consumption in
Right.
play. For us, we look at India not only as India, which is linked to Bollywood, we look at India, which is linked to the larger regional content play.
Correct.
We are, as a brand, very conscious about the Middle India play and the fact that today we service the Tamil user, the Telugu user, the Kannada user, the Bengali user
Correct.
in the same level as I would go about serving a Hindi speaking HSM user as well.
Correct. So, in a scenario like that, is it fair to say that Hungama is one of the only few players in the market that caters to the English, the Hindi category, and vernacular languages at the same level? As you mentioned, customer experience is so important, and the fact that each customer across socioeconomic stratas and various language backgrounds are treated the same.
I singularly believe that Hungama's focus on regional has been there as a company over the last 10, 12 years. It started when we still had network-based services, when I still remember my founder said that when India crossed the 600 million consumer-based connectivity
Right.
in terms of mobile, that resulted in itself going to a set of audiences which never knew a word of English.
Right.
And the fact that regional content was already getting consumed in a big way, we just kept about going in depth. On Hungama Play alone, we started investing in the regional original space
Right.
quite early on.
Right.
So to just give you a perspective, in the last 1 year itself, we've done 4 originals in the Marathi space alone.
Okay.
In play.
Okay.
We've currently got projects that we are working in Tamil, in Telugu, in Kannada.
Right.
And we want to take local stories, regional stories out there and be able to bring these audiences closer to the kind of entertainment that we want to provide.
Right.
On the music side, we've been extensively committed into the regional space for the last 8 to 10 years, and in the streaming space specifically.
Right.
Outside of Hindi,
Right.
the regional languages put together contribute roughly 50+% of consumption.
Okay.
Which means that it's a very important block
Correct.
for services such as us
Right.
to be able to identify and go after.
Right.
So there's a very, very clear core strategy in place, and we today service key languages across India.
Right.
The total languages that Hungama today services is roughly 17 languages.
Right. I think I did a minor glance at the app itself and the fact that the user who's launching the app for the first time has to put in 3 language
Absolutely.
preferences, and it's based on that you can kickstart the entire personalization journey.
Correct.
So in a scenario like that, I just want to pick your brains on what the key challenges would be from a user engagement or conversion point of view, especially in the OTT segment where different players are grappling with different challenges. It could be increasing average session length. It could be converting freemium listeners or viewers into paying subscribers. So what would be some of the key challenges that Hungama grapples with specifically?
So let's first talk about the fact that, so there are two sets of the question. I think it's a very apt question to ask.
Right.
One is the consumption journey.
Correct.
The second is going from a free to paid journey.
Right.
Okay. And the consumption journey itself comes with a whole host of vectors in play when you onboard a user. So apart from you going out and spending money to be able to acquire a user, once you acquire the user,
Right.
you need to go through the entire acquisition funnel where you move the user from an acquired user
Right.
to an active user to an active consuming user, and then to building out a larger retention funnel with him.
Correct.
Where the core LTV in free or paid comes into play.
Correct.
Okay. So with regards to challenges, okay, you're aware of the kind of depth that the Chinese devices
Correct.
bring to India.
Right.
So with them, there is constant work that we're doing with various OEMs to ensure that when we're bringing out notifications, when we're reaching out our users
Right.
on our products,
Right.
our apps are optimized and homogenized for that
Correct.
consumption.
Because that's a huge challenge for mobile marketers. Right?
Absolutely. And the fact that we're dealing with sub $100 devices.
Right.
Over here, both runtime memory,
Right.
okay, and the amount of storage that's available to the user
Right.
is very, very finite.
Correct.
Which means that he needs to make a choice of keeping our products out there, which
Correct.
means that my products have to be hugely optimized
Correct.
to be able to handle that basic
Right.
infrastructure that's being given, which is the device infrastructure in play.
Because at the end of the day, you're competing for memory space, screen space, and water space.
You're also aware of our strategic partnership with Xiaomi, where
Right.
we're very deep into the
Right.
Xiaomi stack. And that itself shows that our commitment towards wanting to go into Middle India, wanting to go across to the youth in India is very strong.
Correct.
There we work very closely with Xiaomi as a partner, where we optimize our offerings directly onto the kernel of the device.
Right. Right.
Okay, and we bring in a lot of great consumer touch points
Mhm.
to ensure that the customer has an always on experience
Correct.
currently and is building his consumption habit, which helps us to then move him from a free to paid container.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so that's the big piece that's getting played out.
Right.
With regards to retaining the customer,
Mhm.
is another big challenge and play out that's happening.
Correct.
And the third is with regards to payments and how can we bring in seamless payment
Mhm.
modules in place to give a ease of use
Mhm.
and create value for the customer for him to be able to shell out a certain
Correct.
this thing. There, I believe there's a lot of work that wallet companies, payment companies are doing with OTT companies such as us.
Right.
Where from cashbacks to credit card programs to price off programs are extensively built out.
Right.
And we create very, very strong try and buy experiences where we want users to try the premium offering,
Right.
taste what isn't available in the premium bucket, to
Right.
then move into a paid
Paid
experience.
experience. Okay.
So that's a big play
Correct.
that's happening.
Correct.
The other is the fact that there is, in my mind, the consumer is spoiled for choice. So you need to create reasons to keep getting him to come back into the service.
Correct.
So there again, technologies, platforms that we brought in to be able to assist us in
Right.
creating touch points and lifetime values with customers, which
Right.
where both ML and AI play a very important role.
Important role.
So when today you come onto Hungama Music, you see the entire onboarding journey.
Correct.
I get you to choose a set of languages basis which I program and curate your experience for you.
Correct.
As you start consuming my product,
Right.
the entire homepage of that product starts changing basis your consumption habit.
Correct.
Here there is a massive ML AI layer at play where we start understanding what you like, we map this with consumers who consume the same content,
Right.
and we start then recommending in layers
Correct.
which basically takes over
Right.
the overall consumer experience. So your device or your homepage of Hungama Music
Is
and
absolutely
my page of Hungama
individualized.
Music goes into individualization, and the weighted averages are continuing to get better where we're pushing more programmatic layers
Right.
onto these homepage
Right.
layers to bring in a sense of personalization and
Right.
greater consumption matrix.
Correct. So that's something that I was actually going to get to. Thank you so much for broaching that beforehand. The fact that the average consumer today, whether he is urban, semi-urban, rural, the fact that the average listener or viewer today demands greater context, greater relevance, not just in the content recommendations that you provide on the website or the app, but also so much more across digital touchpoints, right? So that's where your AI-powered recommendation engine that continues to deliver these relevant recommendations across the customer journey becomes so much more important.
Absolutely. So I mean, I'll just share with you. We use a state-of-the-art notification layer,
Right.
which is basically a smart layer.
Right.
We see you, so I start sending you notifications. I realize that between 9 and 11
Right.
in the morning, you are likely to open my notifications a lot more vis-a-vis any other time of the day.
Correct.
So the entire AI ML layer takes over and
Right.
generates those notifications
Based
based on
on
your clickable site
got it. Got it. Right.
in play.
When you are likely to be most engaged.
Segments get made on the fly.
Right.
So today
Right.
as a company, there would be over 1800 plus segments
Okay.
that we would be dealing with. Now this
Right.
cannot be done through humans.
Of course. Yeah.
It works through parameters that are built out,
Correct.
basis consumption habit, and people are put into buckets,
Right.
and that's when technology and our recommendation layers, our AI ML suites take over,
Right.
which connect to third party platforms to be able to reach out and create a omnipresent environment for the user. So
Correct.
same offering, if you were an email,
Right.
this would move instead of a notification layer
Right.
to an email layer
Got it.
in play.
It would also take into account what channel a user would be most active.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And all of these channels are interconnected into a single port.
Got
So
it.
it is all about us having various consumer touchpoints in place.
Correct.
We having a intelligent engines which basically aggregates all consumer touchpoints and then decides which should be the right optimized touchpoint for us to be able to reach out to the user, and finally the core KPI being
Right.
I need him to come and be an active consumer
Correct.
in my experience.
Correct.
So that then becomes, and the way we measure our core KPI is based on a core matrix, which is time spent listening or time spent watching
Right.
in play.
Right. No, that makes so much sense, and I'm sure other OTT players are also figuring out how to streamline and make it as seamless an experience as possible. Now, when it comes to personalization, it comes down to how much data a user is passing to you to begin with. Now, think of a user who comes to your platform for the very first time. One way to get them started on that personalized journey is, of course, getting them to select those requisite genres or languages. But you require them to log in or at least register to, sort of kickstart their personalization journey at a higher level. So, how do you?
So it's actually the way we look at it is that we actually start the personalization journey without him registering.
Okay.
Because we've got cookies in place, so it
Right.
starts. And please understand, because we are entertainment entities, our consumption matrix or our personalizations drive on the back of what's being consumed.
Correct.
Okay, so language, genre, city, all of that we get,
Geolocation, right,
all
yeah,
of that we get
right.
in play. Okay, we're able to bring that into a single structure.
Right.
We then push users to create a reason to register with us.
Correct.
Okay,
Right.
that reason is manifold. For
Right.
example, if you need to playlist with me,
Right.
You need to register.
Right.
As you register with me, I'm able to bring in your entire social container in
Right.
play. I'm able to tell your users what you are listening to, what you're
Right.
sharing. It is your choice. You want to make it public or private.
Right.
In play, we give you that privacy
You
layer.
leave that with the users. Right.
Okay. Then we go into a gamification engine.
Mhm.
We have a gamification engine which works on, it is a patented layer, which
Mhm.
works on consumers being rewarded for 3 actions.
Okay.
Watch,
Mhm.
listen or share.
Okay.
For the share action,
Right.
you need to register.
Okay. Got
In
it.
play.
Right.
Okay.
Because you
Now-
can get their social login.
Absolutely. Now
Right.
this itself creates a great play out because gamification leads to rewards.
Correct.
Hungama has an amazing rewards program.
Right.
We earlier had a digital rewards program. In December of last year, we rolled out our physical rewards store as well.
Right.
Where today Hungama merchandise is
Merchandise
available.
Right.
All of that's available, and you can redeem that for technically free
Right.
if you've been spending time on the app, and we've been rewarding,
Right.
giving you points. These points can be burned or redeemed towards these goods and services.
Right. Right.
We also link our gamification layer across both our music stack and our video stack.
Okay. Okay.
So you can cross play it. You can be
Okay.
listening to music,
Got it.
earning points, and you can buy a movie pay-per-view pass
Right.
on Hungama Play and be able to go and consume it there,
Right. Right.
and vice versa.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. And a very interesting angle to all of this because I don't know of too many OTT players who have ventured into the entire gamification angle over all of this. Now, given the fact that Hungama has a video streaming service, your Hungama Play, and then you have Hungama Music as well, how do you ensure that a user is still receiving that seamless experience without being bombarded by too many relevant recommendations? Because at the end of the day, there is only a finite amount of communication that a brand would indulge in.
So first of all, it's a single sign-on experience.
Right.
It's a single SSO experience,
Got it.
which means I know everything about you,
Got it. Okay.
depending on what you're consuming.
Got it.
We allow for our recommendation engines to understand user preferences,
Right.
and based on his notification and reach habits, we decide
Mhm.
how many notifications or how many touch points that you need to be reached out
Reached out to. Got it.
in play.
Okay.
And that is completely based on segmentation and what we learn of you. If we
Correct.
realize that you open notifications once every 3 days,
Right.
it will be a lot less for you vis-a-vis a person who is wanting these notifications
Correct.
because his consumption habit is based on aaj naya kya hai
Correct. Correct. Right.
in play.
Right.
Okay, so there are various ways. We
Mhm.
also do a lot of original content,
Mhm.
both on music as well as on video, on
Mhm.
play. That also leads to a lot of great consumer connect
Mhm.
because there's a sizable amount of work that we do to channelize social communities of these actors, artists, celebrities
Mhm.
for this engagement as well.
Right. No, of course.
In play, and that plays for us pretty well.
Right.
In play. The other big play is that Hungama is very large into what we call as short form video
Okay.
as a format category,
Okay.
because we are a mobile first ecosystem.
Correct.
Everyone knows that. We obviously have great presence on TV containers, on
Mhm.
various other containers, but
Right.
Hungama is a very strong mobile first ecosystem
Right.
player, because of which the content that we put out, we keep it in mind that the content consumption,
Mhm.
our sweet spot is between 7 minutes to about 15 minutes
Right.
of consumption.
Right.
Because the mobile device is an opportunistic consumption habit.
Correct.
It is not an appointment based consumption.
Right.
Which means the ML and AI layers that we use
Mhm.
has a lot to do with recency of content, type of content.
Correct.
If he's consuming a lot of Akshay Kumar,
Mhm.
then he would right now be seeing a lot of Suryavanshi.
Okay. Okay. So it's optimized at that level. Right.
Absolutely. I'm not going to send him a
Correct.
Hollywood Joker Oscar pay-per-view
Correct.
notification.
Because it's irrelevant to him. At the end of the day, everything is so interconnected, and consumption patterns can tell you so much about an individual user. So personalization and a solid AI-driven recommendation engine becomes so critical to any OTT player's long-term strategy.
And the size and scale of communities that we're dealing with is all big data.
Absolutely, absolutely.
If I'm going to get millions and millions of daily active users
Correct.
who are consuming hours and hours of content,
Correct.
I need to have platforms, technologies that come in and work towards creating
Right.
a structure
Right.
in which we are able to deal with it.
Right. That makes so much sense. Alright, so while we're talking about personalization, the OTT player has to provide as relevant recommendations as possible. And over a period of time, you realize that there are some recommendations that stick and there are some that don't. So at the back end, the AI ML layer is continuing to optimize those, whether it is based on language, whether it's based on genre. Please shed some more light on how Hungama does it.
So it's an always on structure within our system. We have a team that looks at search and recommendation together. It's
Okay.
not actually a recommendation on a standalone.
Got
Because I believe the entire structure works together.
Correct.
It works very closely with our programming grid.
Okay.
Because you curate, but
Right.
that curation has to work. So there is what's in it for the user.
Correct.
So there is an effective ROI measurement on curation as well.
Okay.
When a container has a piece of content,
Mm-hmm.
if the CTR of that piece of content does not deliver, then programming teams are asked on why that content has been placed.
Got it.
So it is technology that takes over
Correct.
that action, but we have a large amount of human intervention
Okay.
as they build the logic
Right.
which recommendation and search uses
Right.
to be able to
Right.
outline a consumer offer
Right.
out there in terms of the overall packaging that happens on the apps as
Okay.
such.
So I think it's fair to say that complete reliance on AI is not the way forward. It's human intelligence at the end.
It starts actually, if someone tells you that by putting AI ML layer into
It's gonna
consumption,
solve all your
sorry, I'm
problems.
sorry,
It doesn't happen.
it doesn't work like this.
Right.
You have a constant human intervention. AI and ML are part
Enablers.
of your programming cycle, which allows for user consumption data to go in
Right.
and for it to generate a set of actions
Correct.
that makes the user consume your content a lot more
Right.
or multiple times.
Correct. Absolutely.
The two actions.
Correct. No, that makes a lot of sense. And on a final note, I'd just like to pick your brains on what you think is the way forward when it comes to the application of MarTech or marketing technology, the evolving use of AI ML, especially in the OTT space. How do you see it move forward? What more can it do for players?
So I believe each business to its own.
Right.
We treat it very differently. I would presume categories in our space would be treating it very differently. The fact is that if you're in India, you're
Right.
dealing with hundreds of millions of users.
Scale.
Which means that you need to get technology to enable you.
Correct.
Okay. There are state-of-the-art offerings, both external, third-party. You could be sitting and building it yourself.
Right.
I believe it's a hybrid formula that will deliver
Right.
on what the objectives of these businesses are
Right.
in play. I also believe that the core KPIs need to be extremely focused,
Correct.
and these have to be based on short-term windows,
Mhm.
which allows you to transition your business based on what your core requirement sets are.
Right.
In a nutshell, the human capital is as important
Correct.
as the technology and the platforms that you get to the table. You need to ensure that that works for you,
Right.
because these are largely SaaS structures where you need to bring in your human capital, you need to homogenize the SaaS based platform
Right.
to your requirement, and in turn it should be able to give out an output which delivers to your consumers.
Correct. No, that makes so much sense. And that's precisely what Smart Tech also does, enabling marketers and product managers to deliver highly customized, personalized, relevant, and contextual customer experience across various digital touchpoints. We spoke about the critical significance of personalization across multiple touchpoints through the entire customer journey, and that is something that is so valuable to businesses across the board. And on that note, I'd like to thank you so much for your time, Siddharth. It's been an absolute pleasure. And for more such content, continue to subscribe and tune into Mastering MarTech.
Thank you. Thanks.